to a Cat's Whiskers TV podcast because of a slight quick malfunction with our tripod for the camera. So you've got us on audio this week, which is easy for me. It's easy to upload, easier to edit. As ever, joining me, Jono Bullard, is Mr. Paul Balm.
Hello.
And Mr. Aaron Lord.
Hello.
So we're going to start off by looking back at Panthers' weekend games against the Fife Flyers. So we'll go back to Saturday night. Fife coming away with the penalty shot victory against Panthers. So, guys, thoughts?
I don't want to think about it again, frankly. I thought we were lucky to get a point. If I'm honest, if that first goal from Justina hadn't gone straight through and obviously unprepared Regan, then we'd have lost and we deserved to.
Aaron?
Well, just obviously disappointing. I thought, well, I kind of disagree in one way with Paul in the sense of, well, yeah, you could say that we didn't deserve to win the game, but I think to get a point out of it was probably just what we deserved. Just another disappointing performance, and you know, we never really looked like we were going to go and take the game away from Fife, or even look as if we were the home side at points. So look, you know, when it goes to OT and you know, and then to penalty shots, it's flip of a coin. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't think over the whole game you could deny Fife the 2 points, to be honest, and that's disappointing, as I say.
I think the first 10 minutes, you know, we went 2-0 up fairly early. I thought, this is looking quite bright. You know, we've got a chance here, but after that, it just went downhill.
We never grew from that, though, did we? We never built on that start, and yeah, for me, it looks as if there's a lack of confidence when you know people are in front of the net. And
well, I think that's clear, and I think we'll come on to that a little later when we look at the power play opportunities. But I think you're absolutely right as far as confidence in front of the net. I don't think there's a problem with actually setting up the chances. The chances are there. It's just on Saturday night we hit the pipe work 5 times. There were so many shots that went over or wide.
I think we probably had, I don't know how many shots we had, but there would be at least as many that went wide or or more than that.
A good net-minded performance, though, from Regan's point of view.
He's a very good netminder. He actually looks better than he did last season, I think, and he was pretty good last season as well.
But by the same token, I don't think we worked him enough.
No.
I mean, we're talking about, we're going to talk about the power plays, but I suppose we'll move on to it now. But that 5-on-3, was it 5-6 minutes of 5-on-3?
It was 5 minutes of 5-on-3, and then another further 2 minutes of 5-on-4.
Yeah.
So 7 minutes power play.
Yeah, and how much, did we make him move? Everybody's, you're talking about disappointment. Our power play Saturday night was laboured. It was so predictable. I mean, at the end of the game, when we got the 4-on-3, they left David Clark standing on his own because they knew all they had to do was cover our players. Because all we were trying to do was pass it to David Clark
for him to shoot. Yeah,
for him to shoot. It was, I've got the puck. There were a couple of times. I don't want to single Higgins out, but there were a couple of times when the puck came across to him. And he got a shot from a fairly tight angle. Never even looked at it. It was, where's David Clark all the time. Variety. Keep them moving. Don't do what they expect. And it was obvious they knew what we were going to do.
I think when it clicked, though, because there was obviously the power play goal that Chris Lawrence scored early in the third period, and I watched that again back on the highlights, where there was a camera behind the goal, showed it slow motion, and the puck came to Max Perron straight in front of the goal. And instead of doing sort of turning and shooting or putting a backhand in, he looked up and he picked out Chris Lawrence with a quick pass. And that was it. It left Reagan stranded, which left Lawrence with pretty much empty net to shoot in. I thought it was an absolutely lovely, lovely move. But we didn't do it enough. We can do it.
We can do it. We can do quick thinking, and when we do, it can bring results. You look at I know it wasn't a power play goal. The one against Sheffield, the winner, the one that Benedict scored in the end. Yeah, there's some beauty. That was like a power play. The passing, the way we got it moving about. We do that. We make teams struggle against us. But if what we're doing is the same thing time and time again,
they'll close it down easily. Yeah.
Easily.
Well, I think for me on those two kind of points is, do you think, obviously, Clarkie's just come back into the fold, and I think maybe because we've not been totally successful on our power play to date, Clarkie coming back is obviously a big part of our power play system. So I think, could it be a bit of, Clarkie's back in the frame, so let's use him as much as possible. I still agree. Well, yeah, exactly. But then I also think that, like the goal that Benny scored against Sheffield, like you say, it was like a power play because of how quickly we moved the puck. And I think that's something that we kind of hear is how this Panthers team is looking to play, quick transitional play, quick movement of the puck. So, like you say, Jono, it can happen, but we just haven't seen it enough. And obviously that's something that hopefully, the team will be working on, in practice, and then when it gets in the actual game scenario.
Just to mention the Fife Flyers though for a second, because I noticed especially when I was reading the forum and also looking on Twitter
there's your mistake.
Well, yeah, but also looking on Twitter on Saturday night, and it was how the emphasis was how badly we played, what we did wrong. We didn't do this, we didn't do that. I felt actually that was quite unfair to Fife. Fife are a much improved team from the Fife Flyers team that started last season. That obviously got a lot better towards the end of the season. I just think it's a bit unfair on Fife to say, Panthers play bad and that's why Fife got the win. No, I think Fife are a good side and they have some very, very good players on that roster. And I'm thinking Luke Savage, who came halfway through last season, very skillful, very good player. Chris Auger, who they brought in, another really, really good player and has really added some depth to their forward lines. I just think that Fife actually, they're a good team and they're winning games on merit. I mean, look what they did to Belfast at the Odyssey. It's absolutely no fluke. They're a good side.
I think for me, I totally agree with what you're saying, but just to try and give another opinion or another way of looking at it. We're the Panthers, we are at home. It's kind of expected that we are going to win. So when we don't win, it's more about what we've done wrong than what the other team has done right. Yeah. I'm not saying that's correct, obviously, but is that how we look at it? Automatically, we go for the negative of the Panthers.
I think it's
as fans.
I think it's something that's probably crept in over the past few years. Certainly, as we've become more successful, we seem to have developed what was probably the old Sheffield mentality. Yeah, I know, obsessed. But it was very much a mentality of their fans at the early 90s. It still is somewhat. They think they have there's a divine right to win, and I think there's a very, very large proportion of our fan base who actually think exactly the same. Sorry, this is sport. It's a match. It's a 2-horse race. It don't work like that.
Yeah, I mean, what is it our beloved GM says? It says versus on the ticket, not beating.
And he's absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, and even more so this season with how every team has improved. I mean, I just wanted, for me, it's a couple of talking points. Is obviously of the Saturday game is obviously the hit on Box Hill, and also Nickerson on Perron for me was. Now I know Nickerson got his minutes in the bench and stuff like that, which then gave us opportunities on the power play, etc. But what? And I'm not talking about what you see on the forums about or what you hear about we need an enforcer, we need an agitator or whatever. I don't think we need an enforcer, because I think enforcers are a dying breed in our league. What we need is somebody that's willing to stick up for a teammate. Yes. And I was disappointed to see that when Boxhill got boarded, nobody kind of did the reaction that you see in the whole Fretter incident, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, keep that dry.
But that's disappointing for me.
And to be honest, that happened 2-3 times. There was that time, when Boxhill got put into the boards. There was the Nickerson incident. There was one late in the game as well when one of their players went straight through Kowalski, and none of the defence. I mean, I think one of the defenders just stood over him.
I just find that very. I say disappointing, but it's kind of it's kind of like that doesn't give off a good impression to me.
No,
you should be willing, and you might not be the best fighter in the world. You might lose that fight, but that's not what it's about for me. It's about, hang on a minute, you're not doing that to my teammate. You're not doing that to my mate. You're not doing that in our barn, in our arena.
It's about making that stand.
Yeah, it's better.
Whatever happens,
and like I said at the start, I'm not talking that you need to go and get an enforcer. You need somebody that's just willing to drop the gloves if it's needed. Salters did it plenty enough times last season, and I wouldn't say Salters is an enforcer.
No, but I'm not so sure yet. I'm still of the opinion that it's too early to make any changes.
I'm not on about making changes.
Yeah, but to bring someone like that in, because I think it's obvious that there isn't anyone really like that on the team. So we'd have to bring someone like that in. But as I said, I don't think it's the time for changes just yet, if at all. I still think it needs. We've only played 4 league games. It still needs a few more. And I know I'm sure these people on the forum will listen to this and go, he's talking rubbish, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
No, not just on the forum.
But I just think it still needs a little more time. I think this team has been written off far too early.
I agree in that sense, but I'm talking about the certain times. I'm not talking about in a general game by game play. I'm talking about a one-off incident that might happen once every 12 games. That somebody surely has to not even like drop the gloves, but there's no movement towards that player to say, what the hell are you doing?
I'm disappointed. I mean, I'm disappointed that nobody stepped up and stood up for Boxhill, stood up for. Mind you, Nickerson's a big guy. I can sort of say. And the thing is, I think with the Nickerson incident, we showed a bit of discipline because that put us on the 5-on-3 power play. Okay, we didn't do anything with it. No. We know that, but at the time, putting us on 4 minutes of 5-on-3, you expected we could get a couple of goals out of that.
Maybe what we need as well is not an enforcer, but a bit of strength, a bit of backbone from referees, because If Fleming went for what he did, Nickerson could quite easily have gone for the same thing.
I was sat next to you.
There was a lot of cross-checking all night.
I mean, I was sat next to you, Aaron, when that incident took place, and you was quite vocal about how you wanted Nickerson thrown out.
I just wanted him.
I disagree. It was a cross-check and a punch. They were 2-minute minors for me, and. However, if I'd have been told DTM, having just seen one of my players be chucked out of the game on a 5+ game, 8 seconds later, your tough guy does that, I'd have been fuming.
Yeah. But there was another point, think of the third period, where Darnell was following Danny Stewart, screaming at him. You could see, it was our end of the ice, he was screaming at him all the way to the bench. Now, if you're a referee, you're getting that worked up about something. Surely Stewart got to have done something.
Not that I saw.
I actually thought.
If he's having to shout at him like that, you don't go. No. You're not shouting at him telling the face-off's just outside, are you? Or he's got a strap hanging loose.
I actually thought Darnell had a decent game Saturday night.
I did. I mean, I saw him getting some real criticism. I think there was a lot of cheap stuff off the play he let go, but then again, he's only got one pair of eyes, so he's not going to see everything. But then I think he called all the important stuff right.
Because sometimes things happen off the ice, and I think it's about, if you called everything that happened off the ice, you'd be blowing your whistle every 30 seconds. It's about, like you say, calling the right.
Yeah. This
calls.
is where I'm such an advocate of a four-man system, because those things get picked up.
Well, it would be if we got officials.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then again, neither of us, Aaron, have ever gone running up Clumber Street after Darnell to go and talk to him, shouting, Tom, like Alan Partridge. Have we?
Shall we move on to Sunday?
Should we talk about Sunday?
So Sunday. Now Fife obviously were on their third game in 3 nights, and a lot of travelling involved in that. I watched the webcast, and it was pretty obvious that they were the tank was out of gas by halfway through the second period. However, they still battled, they still went into the lead. Panthers, I think everything we said about Saturday's game didn't look confident in front of goal at all. However, a couple of goals, a very good finish by Chris Lawrence after a great setup by Robinson and Clark, and then a tip in from Greg Jacina from Cody Wild's shot, which was also on the power play. I think regardless of the performance and regardless of everything else, it was a much needed win. I didn't care how it came about. I didn't care about the performance. I just wanted us to win the game, and we did.
Yeah. And it's and that sometimes that's really all that matters. If you're winning game after game, then you can worry about how you're winning, and when you're not winning, that goal, that game, that victory is all that matters. But look at the scorers this weekend. Lawrence got 2. Jacina got 2.
Yeah. 2
of the players who've been getting a lot of the time most of the criticism from some of the fans. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of either of them, but if they keep scoring, they'll grow on me.
I think Jacina's much improved from last season, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't think last season he ever really had the chance, did he? He was being played out of position far too often because of all the injuries. That's what we said when we signed him. It's a bit of a wait and see because we don't know exactly what we're going to be getting.
I've been most impressed with Jacina's contribution so far. I think he's certainly one of our better imports.
He's told me he's very happy that you think that as well. So,
well,
But no, Sunday's game for me was a one that you just had to go and grind out.
Yeah.
Like you said, Jono, and like Paul said as well. When you're winning 10 on a trot, that's when you can try and play, dare I say it, the sexy Nielsen hockey. But I think at the moment we need to win a few games, get a bit of confidence back, as we've said, because as I've heard a few people mention, when it doesn't matter the fact that we entered the CHL, to get a taste of it and to put Panthers out there, etc., and to show our ambition. Losing games can knock your confidence, even though you're not expected to win them.
Yeah.
So I do think we need to win some games just to actually, tell everybody that, come on, we are a good hockey side. We have got potential, and this what the CHL was the CHL. The Elite League is totally different.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll have Mark Lee back.
No.
What, he's still injured?
No, he's on a plane.
He's gone back to the USA.
Research, Paul. Research.
Although, of course,
that's my excuse. Straight from work.
Managed to see the Dobbs videos, though. Of course, it was also
revealed. Like a bit of filth.
It was also revealed today that Nathan Robinson will be here for the next 2 weeks, which he's going to cover the next 6 matches. Mm-hmm. Good news.
Yes. I think, especially when you put into context the fact that Benedict is still out, Obviously Higgins has got a bit of a niggle from Saturday. Farmer is out, then it should leave us at full import, I believe. I still want more from him, if I'm honest.
Yes.
I want more end product, but I think that's a sense of he came in with such a reputation and everybody was expecting so much that does he feel the pressure of that? I don't know, you'd have to ask him. But it's a big 6 games that he's here for. He can contribute a hell of a lot. And I think it'd be nice for him to put up some numbers and to make a contribution, because there's no doubt he's a fabulous ice hockey player. As I said,
you just need those points. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, one final thing before we move on. I want to bring up a game from Saturday night, and that was the noisy block, fans block, chanting block that was widely spread on social media before the game, and it was slated that block 18 would be used, and of course we get into the rink and block 18 is covered up.
I believe I predicted that.
I believe you did as well, when we was in here before the game.
Not I'm showing off for it, obviously.
We got a question from Mark Hitchcock, Steelers fan, and
that's the least of his problems.
He says, was covering block 18 justifiable, or another example of Panthers having customers and not a fan base?
Well, given I predicted it, did I mention that I predicted it?
You did, yes.
Yeah. Well, given that I predicted it, I'll let Aaron answer that one.
Do you know what? I saw that on Twitter today, and I think that's a fantastic question.
Oh, don't say that. Good to his head.
So I congratulate you, Hitchy, for that question.
It's first time for everything.
But it's a valid question for me, because who knows what the Panthers are thinking regarding that sense.
I've got to be honest.
For me, we're always asking to be loud and proud, and so when the opportunity of the fans do something, and then you see the club do that, it kind of gives mixed messages for me.
My question though is, was it the club?
It's a very good question, but doesn't the club kind of pay for that arena on that night, so then it's the club's choice of what happens on that night?
But isn't it as well, I assume you're talking about the arena.
Yeah.
But isn't it as well about the way that they went about it? I've got nothing against what they're trying to do. I think it's a brilliant idea.
We was talking to Scotty Knowles, who was running it before the game, and he was very he was very clear in what he was saying. He said, it's a choice. If people want to come and join us, that's fine. But if people want to sit there and not, that's fine as well. He wasn't doing it as to tell people how they should behave. It was just like, right, we're creating this, and if people want to join us, that's great. Which is the right attitude to take.
And that's it. I think it's a great idea. I wouldn't want to do it, but I think it's a great idea. But I think they would have been better if they'd approached both the arena and the club separately. That you said, this is what we want to do. This is where we want to do it. Can we? And all right, you can turn around, looking at the faces, looking at me now. Probably agree with them, but you could turn around. They could turn around and say, no, you're not doing it. And if they do, and people say, why didn't it happen? Just say, don't get wound up, don't get, heads up about it. Just say, unfortunately, the club or the arena wouldn't let us. Just so people don't know that it's their fault. And I just think maybe they went about it the wrong way. But fair play to them, and I hope it works out in the long run.
And I think, me and you spent the second period in there on Saturday night. I really enjoyed it. I thought that it created a good atmosphere. And then when I went back to 13 for the final period,
sat next to me.
Yeah. you could hear it very, very clearly, and they were definitely creating far more of an atmosphere than we usually get.
What they were doing, they were creating an away fan ethos at a home game.
Yeah.
Well, an away Panthers fan performance at a home Panthers, if that makes sense, which doesn't. Other ice hockey rinks at home are like that, so it's not an away. It is an away for a Panthers fan maybe, because Panthers home games are not like that at all.
Yeah.
But if you went to, I don't know, Cardiff, Hull, Fife, you know,
That's because those that want to make noise in the smaller places are closer together.
or do they just have more fans that want to make a noise?
Maybe.
Which does then it go back to the fact of, are Panthers fans seen as fans, or are you a customer that's going to watch to be entertained? I mean, we've talked about this for a long time.
I think the thing with Panthers,
And probably still will.
I think there's a lot of established fans who've been going many years, and who just want to go and watch a game of hockey, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. And I must admit, I would feel very uncomfortable about starting a chant on my own in the middle of block 13 on a normal match. However,
go on, have a go.
However, when we was in Hamburg, or when I've been to away games, because you're in a concentrated area, it's far more comfortable.
That's what I was trying to say.
And I think this will help create that, because everyone is together in one area, and it helps create that atmosphere, and people don't feel as self-conscious about chanting or singing because everybody else is doing it around them.
Yeah.
Will it be allowed to happen again?
I hope so. I think the club was retweeting some stuff about it on Saturday night, and seemed to be encouraging it, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think if the club did anything to try and stop it, then it's ridiculous, because, you know, it's entirely counterproductive for them. We've got people there who want to get together and make some noise, which is going to hopefully spur the team on. So why wouldn't they?
I just think you shouldn't have to go all into one block, personally. But I totally get that some people just want to sit there and don't want to say anything for 60 minutes. Me personally, I'm not that type of person.
That doesn't mean that they're not involved in the game. I mean, my dad won't thank me for this, but he's a 75-year-old man now. Happy birthday for the other day, Dad. And he really won't thank me for that. But, you know, you expect him to be jumping up and down singing all night?
No, like I say, I don't expect everybody to be like I am, and I like.
Thank God for that.
So easily me saying it.
I like to be, you know, loud, and I feel that as the crowd, you are there to urge the team on. I don't feel that the team have to urge me on as a fan, whereas other people might. So I think it's perfectly fine if people don't want to do it, but I just don't think that we should have to then go into one block. It should, you know, you should be able to sit in your own seat and there'd be enough people to make enough noise. But, you know, obviously there's not, as Panthers fans, and that's the way it is.
All right, guys. Well, I should guess we will see what happens over the next few weeks and the next few home games.
So hopefully, the team will encourage it.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah. So moving on to some news that has happened this very evening, before we recorded, which makes a change. Of course, the latest announcement of bans from the EIHL Department of Player Safety. Quite a few to get through from over the weekend. I want to leave the Matthew Meyers one till the end, because we've got a question regarding that.
Ooh, tension. The build-up.
But I mean, we've observed all the videos from the bans that have been handed out today. So I think we'll start with Jay Portwood for Edinburgh, because that's the one we've just watched. 2 games, fair enough.
Sorry, I was just enjoying a scampi fry from Smith's, the official snack of the Cats Whiskers TV. Yeah, I think so. Fair enough. He just goes through him with his elbow. Just straight through him. There's no interest in the puck or anything. Straight through him, elbow on.
Yeah. He almost missed by the camera, so that could have been expensive for Edinburgh.
Scampi fries are delightful.
They're not paying us anything. Harry?
Not yet. Fucking going on about them, they might.
The only question for me is 2 games enough?
I think based on other ones, and like I say, we'll come to Matthew Meyers at the end. I think yes, 2 games is fair enough. Colton Fretter, that well-known industrial part in the steel mill.
Yeah.
He received a one-match ban for a boarding incident against Hull on Sunday night. Having seen the video, yes, absolutely. I think that's fair enough.
Yeah, well, could have been one game, could have been more, but they'd set the precedent the night before, hadn't they?
Matthew Meyers.
Matthew Meyers on with the win, not talking about you. Smiths, of course, also make frazzles.
Is one game enough? No, but I think for that one...
Is one frazzle ever enough?
One scampi fry isn't enough for me, I'll tell you that now.
Get back. Kate, come on.
For me, that... You can actually see Fretter, his eyes are purely on what is about to happen. You can tell there's a bit of premeditation in that.
Well, there's a lovely slash he does.
I know, yeah,
beforehand.
And then there's
I'd like to thank Seth for pointing out, because I missed it the first time I watched it.
That's what Seth's there for.
But going back to what Corey Nielsen was saying on the locker room last week about what Fretter was doing in the in our power plays then, knocking sticks out of people's hands.
Well, yeah. Yes, indeed.
But those got missed as well today.
But yeah, I think one game's fair enough for that.
Not for me.
No.
Not for me. There's he knows exactly what he's about to go and do, and he, just my opinion, but he looks like he's planning on doing it with a bit of force as well, which is why
it's definitely he's got knowing. That's the only thing he's thinking of.
He's not thinking to play the ball.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, his eyes aren't even on the puck, so one game not enough for me.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that's slightly worrying about that video is how see-through the boards are and all.
I know.
How white is the ice?
I know, actually. I mean, that was one thing I noticed. I thought, is that actually the player's silhouette? I can see through the boards.
Yeah.
It's like, Well, I guess we'll see for ourselves on Sunday. Brad Plumpton of Dundee. Now, this was for a clearly blatant cross-check to the face of Scott Fitzgerald of Braehead Clan. Now, apparently there's some history between these two from what I was looking at. They've been back and forth in the previous matches between them and in
warm-up, which if you'd done your research properly, you'd have started with that one and moved on, wouldn't you?
Well, no, I want to come back to the warm-up.
Nice save. It was a good save. As well, I was done well, wasn't it? Yeah. I know it's his show, Aaron. I know, but yeah.
So Brad Plumpton, fair enough, one match ban?
Yeah.
For me, and I know, no other sort of incidents are taken into consideration when handing out these bans. But I think when you look at the other ones, one game for that, when there's only been one game for Fretter, for example, two for the others, which we've talked about. I think one game's enough. Is it enough
you can see they're both going at each other all the way, but then it's that second. It is quite vicious, and I think absolutely fair enough. The other one is obviously the fracas in warm up, which fracas. Now it was quite clear that this was Plumpton and Fitzgerald again when they showed the video. That wasn't clear from the first video that came out on Sunday, which was a fans video, but from the video that the Department of Player Safety had, they're sort of chirping.
The team one couldn't have been closer, could it really?
And they're chirping away at each other. Chris Frank comes flying in. He really has no need to.
Yeah, and that's what he's got the ban for. At the end of the day, that's going nowhere. It probably may have ended up a bit of pushing and shoving, perhaps, but he just comes steaming in, and everybody then gets.
He doesn't do it. He just pushes the guy. It's not as if he flattens him or cross-checks him or anything like that. I think
he comes out of nowhere. It's in warm-up. I mean, they've been. Both teams have been fined. He's been fined £1,000. He's been fined £500 as well. What I want to know is that the money from these fines, if they get paid, where's it go?
Well, that's a question for the Elite League and the Department of Player Safety, because
prawn sandwiches at the playoffs,
possibly so. But I suppose
Christmas do.
Who knows? Who knows indeed. Just relating.
We finished the scrumpy fries.
Just relating to that, we've got a question from Clanman Al. Should mascots be allowed on ice during warm-up, given the danger of getting hit by a loose puck? Potential lawsuit there.
Never mind getting by a loose puck. You know, if you watch that video, the kid, when Plumpton and Fitzgerald are arguing, the kid just skates right between them. It's like, get out of the way!
He wants to be involved, bless him.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, then the kid dropped him and took Frank on and won, but hey.
I think that's obviously a very unique.
How many times does it not happen is the question, isn't it?
Yeah, which is lots.
Yeah, exactly. So to deny a mascot that I imagine pays for that experience, well, yeah, it does pay for that experience.
Nasally in Nottingham, yeah.
It'd be too harsh for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think,
but he's got to be prepared to stand up for his teammates if it does all kick off. I'm sorry, if he's on the ice, he's got to get involved. I'm joking.
For me, you know, it's we get enough rules with health and safety. You know, don't take that sort of pleasure away from a kid who's probably absolutely delighted to be there. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I bet mate, he had a right good day at school on Monday telling his mates all about that.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so moving on to the one that was released on Sunday, which was, of course, Matthew Meyers' 2-game ban.
I don't want to talk about that one.
No, let's not talk about that now. No.
Against Eric Galbraith of the Hull Stingrays. Now, obviously, I've watched the hit, and as much as I like Matthew Meyers, because I've obviously a lot of history with the Panthers, it's an absolutely brutal hit.
It is. Sorry for not talking there, Jono. You watch the video. Meyers has only got one thing on his mind, and that's to he sees Galbraith's vulnerable and just goes for him. And 2 games, I think, is I think he's lucky, really, frankly.
Yeah,
Very lucky.
I think it's, should we say, on the lenient side. And what surprises me is sometimes, you know, when a player makes a hit like that, then they kind of know they've done it and they accept it. To me, it looked as when it got called that, you know, Matty Meyers was like, oh, you're calling that, you know, you can't. And it might have been that he thought, oh, what have I just done? But to me, I took it as if he thought, oh my God, I didn't, you know, that's not a penalty, which is obviously, if that's the case, and like I say, I could be totally wrong. That's a bit weird, shall we say? But
well, I think
the problem is, you know, with that being the first ones to be called that we've talked about tonight, it did set a precedent for all the others.
Yes.
And, you know, we kind of talked about this last season when, you know, Murray Hansen was in charge, and some of the calls that got made, did that then mean that if that happened again, are we now saying that if that happens again in I don't know, a Sheffield Nottingham game and that occurs, it's going to be 2 games? I don't know, it's kind of, it's an opportunity to make a stance.
Yeah.
You haven't.
Yeah, and it's giving clubs the opportunity to then argue. Isn't it? You know, well, no. They can go in and say, is that any worse, better or worse than that Meyers check? No, but what I want to sort of mention is that, I mean, I'm sure all the people, with the exception of Cardiff, who are watching, you know, listening to this from other teams, will probably disagree with us, but Matthew Meyers weren't like that when he played for us.
I'd say he was in the championship when we won the championship season. He was,
he was very
gritty.
This is what his 3rd, 4th ban he's had since he moved to Cardiff, start of last season.
Well, he got banned at the end of last season, the beginning of this season, didn't he?
For a check to the head,
you know, at the boards and stuff like that. So, and I think, you know, Mr. Sheffield, David Sims actually tweeted that, saying that people kind of saying that Matt Meyers isn't like that or whatever. He has kind of got previous, or he's starting to get previous, which I mean, I don't know. You know, is that? Look, we've all. well, people have said that Cardiff are a lot more tougher, they're rougher. They are going to be there to hit and stuff, but there's doing that.
Well, that wasn't illegal.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, Paul says that Matty Meyers wasn't like that with the Panthers. If the ethos of the team is to be a bit more physical, for somebody that hasn't been physical in the past, might struggle to know when to draw the line.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
But I mean, for me, brutal hit. I think he's lucky to get away with 2 games, to be honest. And I think you only have to see the reaction of the people behind the plexi. If you watch the video, just watch, because you see them actually turn away and they go, you can see them sort of go, blimey. That brings us on to a question from Dave Smith, who most people will know as Scrappy, a Hull fan. He sent us a question on Sunday after all these had come in, saying he thinks that the 2 games is a pretty poor show from the Department of Player Safety.
I think we've covered that.
Do you think the bans? But he says, do you think the ban should be served against the team that the incident occurred in the first place, or whoever that team chooses to have him suspended against?
One word answer: no.
Ditto. And yeah, I'd say no as well. The reason being, well, I can sort of understand where he's coming from in a way. I think it's going to be a nightmare to administer. And let's put it this way: every other league, every other sport, if you get a suspension, it's from that point to another point in time. Either it be say a ban for a amount of time or a number of games.
Yeah. I mean, how would you legislate it? Say you're 2 games from the end of the season and a player gets a 5-game ban. They're obviously not going to play that opposing team enough times the rest of the season. Does it carry over? What if the player leaves? Does one of the players coming in? It just wouldn't work. And the idea of being able to choose which game a player is banned for, I'm sorry, but that's just an overly political nightmare.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, and I'll say sorry to Scrappy for this, but you just said I can see the logic in where he's coming from. I really don't see any logic in that at all, because how?
No, I can see some logic.
Well, could you explain it to me?
Yeah,
then, please,
okay.
Jono?
So you've got Matthew Meyers has cross-checked Eric Galbraith into the boards. So you might have players from Hull looking for retribution against that player the next time they play. If he's not on the ice, if he's taken out of that situation, that diffuses that situation straight away.
But then isn't Matt Meyers getting away with that?
Let me put this. Let me put a whole context on the other side of the argument. Then, how long would Derek Campbell be banned for? If he only missed games against Dundee Stars.
Wow, yeah, and that's where, that's obviously where the argument falls. I agree.
Was it against Dundee Stars?
It was against Dundee Stars.
I remembered something.
I agree. I mean, I don't think it should be brought in for a second, but I can see some certain amounts of logic behind it.
You see, for me, Matt Meyers then would be getting away with it. The fact you're taking him out of the fire, that would be possibly an away fixture for him at Hull.
But if somebody takes retribution against him, that's also against the rules. They're either going to get penalties and they may get.
No, it doesn't have to be. No, it doesn't have to be. It could be. It could be a perfectly clean hit in the middle of the ice, just to let them know that is for what you did for the previous. It doesn't have to be an illegal, hit or anything. It could be channeled aggression that is well within the laws of the game, but Matt Meyers would then know that is for the hit that he did. You take him out of that situation, he's sat in the stands or sat at home while they're playing Hull. I don't see any sense in that at all.
Okay. Looking at all the bans that have come out today, and we've got another question from Greg Crooks, our old mate, old Teddy. He says, are over-the-top bans this is his words, not ours on the tweet, are over-the-top bans and fines killing what used to be a tough entertainment sport by discouraging teams from signing tough players. Now,
it would appear not.
Well, I'm going to...
Given the number that have been signed into league this season.
I'm going to say from the outset, it's quite clearly that all the bans that we've seen are all fair enough. They're all illegal plays. These hits to the head, these checks into the boards, they are dangerous plays.
Yeah, and I don't think any of them are over the top.
Mm-hmm. They are being cut out. I mean, this is the way the game is going. There's so much litigation. There's so much around concussion these days.
And rightly so.
Yeah, the player's safety has to be taken into account. And
this isn't Slapshot anymore. This isn't Shaw. Because nobody liked him at the end of the day.
Now, whether you like it or not, the game has evolved.
Yeah.
The game has gone away from those roughhouse tactics. Now, I used to love the rough stuff. I still do love the rough stuff. Well, however, if it's going to put a player's life at risk further down the line, then I'm afraid it's got to be clamped down. And I know it's an entertainment. I know it's an entertainment sport. It is an entertainment, but
no, it's a sport. It's not entertainment. Wrestling is entertainment.
Sorry, but it is. It is a sport for people go for entertainment to watch a sport. You can't be putting.
We're in the wrong place most weeks.
You can't be putting players' lives at risk just for the sake of dropping the gloves and beating the hell out of each other.
I think there is still a place for rough player because that's ice hockey. It's a contact. It's a contact sport, but you have to have rules. Sound like I'm worried now. But you have to have rules, and if those rules are broken, you have to deal with the rule breakers. I mean, is there a sport apart from ice hockey as rough as rugby league? And yet we've just seen a player banned today for 6 months
for a pretty it was brutal.
For essentially punching a man to the floor and then
punching him again while he was
on the floor. And
let's be honest, if that had happened in ice hockey, I couldn't see him getting a 6-month ban.
No.
I would think probably 5-10 games.
I don't think he'd get that.
And I think that's probably the difference.
I think for me, it's just, and you touched on it very briefly, the game's evolved. Even this season for me, our league has evolved. It's getting more, and it's getting faster. It's getting more skillful. It's kind of like I said earlier on. I don't think enforcers are a dying breed in our league, but there is still room for a tough guy. But the tough guy must bring more to the ice than just willing to drop the gloves at any point. Look at probably what a lot of people would say is the best tough man in the league or whatever is Keith from Belfast. He'll drop the gloves at any point, but he also brings so much more to that team.
Yeah.
And that's that
which
was my point earlier on.
Eternally grateful for.
But what you've also got to look at is as well that different fans go to watch different things. Some people like the pretty passing, the pretty goal. Some people like the pretty players, as I know you do, Jono. But
always.
And some people like the grit. Let's be blunt. They like the fighting. They like, and the wonderful thing about hockey is that it brings all of those things at one time or another. You just don't necessarily want all of them every week, except the goals.
I do think the fighting's getting less and less, though.
Oh yeah, it's noticeably declined. I think over the past few seasons, noticeably.
And that's why I'm saying enforcer is a dying breed.
Just one final point on the Department of Player Safety. We're sort of a month or so into the season now. Think it's working?
It is. I'd like to see, and this may be too transparent, if you can have such a thing. I'd like to see the reasons for why they don't give bans for things. Been talking about the Bob Fleming on Box Up. I'm sorry. Somebody cover for me. No, I'm all right now. I'd like to know why that wasn't a penalty, rather than. And I think as well as just going. I'd also like the videos to be a bit shorter, quite frankly, because I can read a fair bit quicker than they put the signs up where they are. And, to just go, it is illegal because it is this. For a start, you don't have to say it is illegal because it's checking to the head. Because it's checking to the head, therefore it's implicit that it's illegal. But, I'd like to see a bit more into, show the bit that they're really focusing on. Because that's as much for us as for the coaches. Because they should be learning, if they're any good, that, to tell their players, don't do that. You do that, you're going to get a ban. And I don't want you to get banned.
I mean,
it's all about...
I really like the transparency. I like the fact that the videos... I like the fact they always put the rule in as well, because as hockey fans, we don't read the rule book. We don't
Yeah, but as British hockey fans, we don't necessarily get a rule book to read.
Well, it's double IHF rule book, so it's as simple as that.
In the main, yes.
And I think it's as I really like it. I think it's a massive step forward, and it's much needed.
I mean, I think for me it's a move in the right direction. I kind of get what Paul's saying, because I would like to know why the offence on Box Hill was it not asked to be reviewed, or are they all automatically reviewed?
They're all
now?
reviewed apparently. And if this is an injury, apparently he ended up with stitches around his eye.
Yeah.
Which is as serious as you can. It's pretty.
Yeah, but I've watched that video. I watched the video from the highlights of the Panthers show, and to me, it didn't look as bad as what it did on the night when I saw it again. I mean, it's
that's
not
fair enough, because
Box Hill's not got his back completely turned to Fleming. His numbers aren't showing. It's more from the side rather than from the back, and I think that's why he's not been banned.
And obviously, when you're watching the game, you're watching it with emotion as well. And,
of course you are.
And you've got to remove that from it. But no, I think as long as they keep it up and as long as they keep it consistent, it can only be good.
That's the big word, isn't it? Consistency. Like you said earlier, Panthers are 4 games into the Elite League. Let's see what it's like. In another 20 to 30, but I think it's definitely been a positive step. And I do like the fact that there's commentary on it from Seth Bennett. I think it's professional in that sense. So I think it's positive, like I say.
Okay, thanks for the moment. Going to look ahead to Panthers' upcoming games now. Away to Braehead on Wednesday night, at home on Saturday at the NIC to the Dundee Stars, and then away to Hull on Sunday in our final Challenge Cup group game, which is probably a must-win. Starting with the Braehead game, that's going to be another tough trip.
It is. To be honest, I can't see anything other than a home win.
Well,
Positive
positive as always, yeah.
Positive as always.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I think. I've got to admit. Finn has really got that team playing well. 3 wins this weekend in 3 nights, 2 of which were shutouts.
Yeah.
They're a good side this season. Yeah. Well, that was going to be my point. I think it's the netminding that's been a standout point for me. Jones has done very well, like you say, 2 shutouts in the last 3 games. They've got a bit of everything for me, Braehead, and we said this in the season preview. But you can say that about any team at the start. It's, we're kind of seeing that on the ice for Braehead. What I would say about the Panthers is I think it's, in one way, it's a great opportunity. It's away. We're not at home. There'll be plenty of Paul Balms out there not expecting us to get anything from the game.
Oh God, it's more than one.
Why not go? Why not go there and pull off what some people might say a shock? For me, that would be the motivation.
pressure's off, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's a perfect opportunity again to get some point. I'd take a point from that. In all honesty, at the moment, the way that we've been playing, the way that Brayhead are playing, I'd take a point, and if we can nick it in OT or even on a penalty shootout, then that'd be fantastic. But
I'd rather have two.
Well, of course you'd rather have two, but I think you have to take into consideration how Brayhead are playing, the fact they're at home, the fact we're having to travel up, the fact that we haven't been firing on all cylinders, confidence is low. But again, like I say, it's a fantastic opportunity to go in there. The pressure is off, like Paul says, and nick a win. I would just take any type of win, to be honest. I'm not bothered about going there and trying to play, nice, good hockey.
I tell you what,
I'll take anything. Yeah.
If we played it like Sunday night and ground out a 2-1 win, I would be absolutely delighted.
Exactly. It's a tough game, though.
Yeah. Panthers against the Dundee Stars on Saturday, home at the NIC. Dundee have flattered to deceive so far, I think, after when we was looking at the roster that Jeff Hutchins had put together, and we're thinking, well, they're obviously looking to build on the finish that they made last season, but it's certainly not been that way so far, and they seem to have struggled. They had a quite heavy defeat against Belfast on Saturday, and then were shut out at home against Brayhead on Sunday. So you'd have to think that we'd be looking for 2 points from that one.
You'd hope so, but we're better for Dundee to turn around than at an out of sorts Nottingham Panthers. You think because Belfast. Not Belfast. What am I talking about Belfast? Dundee have struggled so far, so they'll be. But again, they'll be coming to us with the pressure off. We'll see what happens.
You see, for me, this is a great opportunity for the Panthers to go out there and actually kind of put a performance in, get a result which fans out there might know that we can do, and that's got to come at some time. I think it's all about motivation. It's about motivating the guys to actually go out there and perform to the capability that they can do. Like Paul says, it's Dundee at some point have got to turn their season around. Just like Fife kind of did last season. What better place to do it, like Paul says, that at the NIC. But from a Panthers point of view, I would be looking at that game to be where we kind of come out and go, do you know what, we're going to put on a performance here. We are actually going to go and beat a team that we should be beating. We're going to play well, and we're going to get the right result.
Well, to an extent, we've got to turn our season round.
Exactly.
So this is good. We've got to look at this as an opportunity for us as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's a perfect opportunity.
I suppose that moves us nicely on to Sunday night, because of course that is the final Challenge Cup group game for us. Currently 1-3, lost 4. So you have to think it's must win it, Paul.
Could be difficult. All on the bad side. They've not had the best of form at home.
They destroyed us.
They did
at home, and the NIC absolutely took us apart.
Let's see what Corey's learned from that. I'll be going up there. I sort of have to, but I'm not confident. Really not.
See, I think we are going to win on Sunday night. I am quite confident of pulling the victory out of the bag.
I hope so.
See, for me, it's not about what Corey's learned from that game. It's more about what the players have learned from that game. Corey knows exactly what Hull is about. He's been in this league for many a year. It's about the players that probably turned up to that game on the back of a CHL game and thought, do you know what, we kind of only have to turn up, maybe give 75% and we'll come away with the victory.
But that's Corey's job to stop them doing that as well.
A coach can only do so much. The players are on the ice. The players have to take responsibility for that performance for me. And they have to go out there on a huddle and go, do you know what, we either gave them far too much respect or we didn't give them enough respect, and do you know what, we are going to put a performance in as a team, as players, to make the fans, proud. And because it's a competition that obviously, everybody knows the Panthers' history in the Challenge Cup. So is it a must-win game? You never know with the Challenge Cup, though, do you? Because of the format. And,
I still think it's must-win. I genuinely think it's must-win.
Well, then it's back to the walls, isn't it, boys? 2 points, nothing less. Go and get him.
Yeah.
End off.
Okay. And then, of course, what I'm slightly missed off, next Tuesday, of course, Edinburgh home. You'd have to hope.
See what we've said about Dundee. See a lot of what we've said about. Well, those are the games you've got to go and win.
This period of time, these next 7-10 days is a great opportunity for us to actually, as Paul said, turn our season around. I don't think it's in that bad of a state at this precise moment in time, but we
need some confidence.
But it's a perfect opportunity to put us onto the track of where we want to go.
And I think I would like to be sat in this position when we're talking in next week's show, where we've got 8 points out of the last possible 8. I'd be delighted with that. I know you're shaking your head.
I forgot the camera.
I don't think it's impossible.
No, it's not impossible. It's just improbable.
We'll see. We will see. And before we finish up tonight, just want to wish all the best of luck to the Belfast Giants, who, of course, going to Continental Cup action this weekend in Bremerhaven in Germany. They'll be playing CSKA Sofia, Tilburg, and of course the hosts as well. So all the very best to them, representing the Elite League in the Continental Cup. Yeah. And I hope you get through to the next round, genuinely.
Good luck,
yeah, good luck. Represent it well.
Yeah.
We know how much fun it was for us last year,
Yeah.
They have the same.
Yeah. Okay, so we will be back next week. Not sure if we'll have the TV back. Depends on if anyone would like to lend us a tripod or not. But if not,
at times that hard.
Well, hopefully we'll get sponsorship from Smith's Scampi Flavour Fries.
I wouldn't count on it.
Keep saying it, no?
So we will be back next week, either TV or podcast. Thanks very much for listening. If you want to get in touch with the show, please do so via our Twitter account, which is @CatsWhiskersTV. And if you want to ask us any questions, please use the hashtag AskCWTV. But until next week, from Paul, from Aaron, and from myself, goodbye.